Hello, friends, and welcome back to Business Happy Hour. Today, I'm giving you a little tip. I'm giving you a little sneak peek inside into my client session that I had today. So, I had a one-on-one call with one of my one-on-one clients, shocker, today. And one of the things so I start every session with like, give me the updates and what do you want to work on today? Right? Because yes, I'm more than happy to give you direction and I'm more than happy to strategize things with you. But if you don't come to the call with I can't help you. Right. So I'm always like, what do we want to work on today? Give me the updates. And even if it's like a big word vomit of like, here are all the things I'm working on. Can you help me prioritize? Like, sure, absolutely. But I'm not a mind reader, right? So this client in particular, she's like, I have been creating a masterclass and I really want your thoughts on it. I'm like, beautiful. Great. So this particular client is in kind of like the more of like the functional medicine space. So she works with a lot of women's health, hormones, hair mineral analysis tests, that type of stuff. And she wanted to do a collaboration with another, I'm not sure if she's a dietitian or a health coach or something like that. I think she's a dietitian. And they wanted to do it on weight loss. So I was like, okay, great. Love the idea. Let's, craft it. She had a decent amount of it done. And the conversation where I wanted to go today is I really want I want this to be a reflection for yourself of like, I need to go back and I need to look at some of my, typically I would focus on like your lower ticket offers, your free offers, and making sure that they're bringing in the right people. So we went through it and I was like, okay, this is great. This is super, super valuable information. And I reflected back to her. I was like, I want you to consider, though, the person this is for. There is nothing bad. There is nothing wrong here. This is simply a reflection question, which I do a lot with my clients because I'm like, I don't know who you're trying to speak to unless I ask you, right? I don't know the person that you want as a client unless I ask you, unless we talk through it, unless we get clarity around it. And a lot of times you don't know either because a lot of the times we create these things and then it's like, wait, who is this actually for? Right? Because you create it and then you're like, oh shit, now I need to do the marketing for it. Who is this person? I know what I want to teach, but who is the person that needs the information that I want to teach? Right? So we started talking through it, and some of the things that she was teaching was like, and this is what I'm talking about in terms of like, I talk about congruency a lot. Is there congruency between who you actually want in your programs and what you're actually talking about? So, an example here, right? So, she wanted to talk to clients or potential clients, hopefully will eventually be clients who they're struggling with weight loss. They feel like they've tried all of the things. They feel like there's just no other solution. They've tried, eating less, working out more, doing all these things, right? And all the traditional things of, oh, I've actually even heard that I'm supposed to eat more and that's going to help me lose weight. Like they've heard all these things. I should be eating more protein. And we got to a point where I was like, hey, actually go back to the beginning of these slides. And I realized I was like, there's not congruency between who we want in this program and and the things that we're teaching, right? Because she had some information about like macronutrients and like protein and fat and why it's important to have a balanced plate and all these things. And I'm like, okay, but if we're thinking about this particular person, and again, nothing bad or wrong, I just reflected back to her, like, does this person need to know that they need to balance their plate? And I was like, the answer can very well be yes. But she was kind of like, no. And I was like, yeah, because I'm thinking like, we're talking to this person who feels like they've done all the things. Like we're talking to a very high ego in terms of nutrition person here, right? They're like, I've done the research. I know I need X amount of protein. I've had my protein calculated, yada, yada, yada. Like, I've been to the doctor. I've had my thyroid checked, and I still don't have an answer. right? And I was like, okay, we need to really craft this person out. We need to paint the picture of this person because if they are almost like that, like nutrition know-it-all person, they are going to go through this and they're not going to be like, oh, my mind is blown. And that's our goal, right? For something low ticket or a freebie, we want them to like have this massive realization of like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been missing. And if they think that they're this person that's like, oh, I know I need to balance my plate. I know I need this amount of protein and fat and carbs and blah 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 blah. They're gonna be like, nah, this is rudimentary. Like, I already know this. So I reflected back to her and she's like, okay, yeah, no, you're right. We need to shift this. And I'm like, okay, so then this person, what do they want to know? They want to know why all of the things that they've been doing that apparently work for everyone else aren't working for them. So we really had to shift the message from, hey, here are the things that you should do. Here are the things you need to do to, hey, I know what you're doing and here's why it's not working. Okay. Because just blabbering and not blabbering, what's it called? Like word vomiting all the information that you know, it's not going to just it's not going to be impressive, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I want to I'm and as humans it's very normal. Like you want to show your knowledge. You think that it's really going to build your authority, but what's actually going to build your authority more is showing that you know exactly what they're doing and telling them why it's not working for them. Because think about it. So let's say this person that I just painted the picture of, they come, they watch your masterclass, and they're like, oh my gosh, I know I need to balance my plate. I know that I'm not losing weight because of blah, 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 blah. Like, this is what I've heard over and over again. Imagine they show up to that versus they show up and you're like, hey, listen, I know that you've tried all the things. I know that you eat enough protein. I know that you're trying to make, put cottage cheese in every single thing that you bake in order to increase the protein. I know that it's frustrating because all of these recommendations, all these things you're seeing on TikTok that you're seeing online are telling you all you got to do is, add an extra run or two in the week and you're going to see that fat shed off and you're frustrated, right? And you're validating them and they're like, oh my gosh, like their mind is blown by you simply just calling out what they're currently doing versus speaking to like, hey, add more protein, do this, do that, do this, do that, right? This is where like over educating and over providing value is not actually serving you. Instead, calling out what they are doing and telling them why it's not working. So the way that we shifted this is I was like, okay, in terms of protein, carbs, and fat, what do they need? What do they need a realization around? And it's not that they need to balance their plate, right? It's that you're whatever it is for this particular client. But for this particular person, we were like, okay, they know that they need to balance their plate, but maybe their macros are off, right? Just based on what she was teaching. Obviously, this is different for every ideal client. So then she speaks to why instead of just focusing primarily on protein, how carbohydrates are actually really important because of XYZ hormone or whatever she wants to speak to you, right? And then their mind is blown. It's like, oh my gosh, all I've been doing is focusing on protein. And I didn't realize how the carbohydrates are actually really helping my XYZ hormone, which helps with blah, 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 right? And they're having this realization and they're like, oh my gosh. So they get so much value out of you just telling them why something's happening. And then it goes on to be like, oh, well, now I have the question of like, how do I like know how many carbohydrates to eat? And then that's what you do in the next step with them. Now, I'm not going into like every little detail with what her particular presentation is and her masterclass and everything, but eventually it'll go into minerals and like that's going to blow their mind because this type of person is so preoccupied on eating less calories, on trying to get so much protein. They've never thought about how minerals can play a role in this. And she's going to blow their mind by being like, hey, I know you tried all these things. I bet you haven't heard of this. And they're gonna be like, I need that. And then she's gonna pitch her hair mineral analysis test, and it's gonna be freaking epic. Okay. So the takeaway for you, if you're in functional medicine, hopefully this was helpful for you, because I think, it's a great sector to get into in terms of like the hair mineral analysis test. All my clients that are doing that right now is freaking popping off. And honestly, my take on this and why this is happening is because it is the most tangible thing that we can offer as coaches. So most of our services are very intangible. A hair mineral analysis test, a physical test, people are having such an easier time conceptualizing what they're getting out of that because it's tangible. So if you're interested in offering hair mineral analysis tests, highly recommend looking into it because they are popping off right now. So this particular client, I'm very excited for her because this masterclass I know is going to pop off. But in terms of your own reflection, if you have any low ticket things, free things, I want you to go back and I want you to review them and think, am I actually leading my people where they need to be led? Or am I just word dumping, word vomiting, right? Out of my own insecurity and fear of, oh no, is this going to be enough information? Are they going to think I'm dumb? Do they blah, 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 blah. They literally can't think that you're dumb. They're literally going to think that you are the smartest person ever when you call something out that they're doing and you tell them why it's not working. And then you present your solution, which is your offer, and they're gonna be like, no fucking brainer, I'm in. Okay. So go back and evaluate what you're putting out there. Are you shifting their perspective? Are you helping them have a realization to something and then showing them the solution? Or are you just trying to prove yourself that you are smart and that you know a lot of things and that you can teach them everything? Okay. Now, I know that this can be a challenging feat to kind of figure out how to actually do this and get over the hump of like, okay, but I don't understand how to deliver this without it being like, I'm just calling you out, and like how to actually make it still valuable without, again, like the overeducating. So if you need help with that, feel free to DM me. Your business empire is the best place for you to be right now because I show you exactly how to do this in Content Catalyst. And that is now included in our VIP tier of your business empire, which I'm very, very excited about. Okay. So if you have any questions on it, DM me your business empire, just empire. I'll know what you're talking about. We can just have a conversation, decide if it's a good fit for you. And I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.